Hey everybody, it's the Mad Master here. I'm doing a video, um, not on much sleep, but nevertheless, I'll be doing this video because I really want to make a pronouncement about this and this statement about this recent news that is really fucking fascinating but infuriating at the same time. And it is related to the virus thing. I was in shock when I read this today. And I'll probably, I'm going to try to leave in the video description a link to this article because it's like, I'm not surprised or shocked, but in a certain way, but it's like, it is shocking. But at the same time, it's like, it's kind of playing out like certain people predicted, um, which is really strange because I didn't really buy into these conspiracy theories and stuff, and I'm still don't. But at the same time, it's like, what the fuck is going on with this? So, and what I speak of is, I'll just give you a little background story about this. So I was on YouTube. I was on this, I think it was Jimmy Dore or Louis Rossman video. I think it was Louis Rossman, and it was about something to do with like New York with regards to property prices because of the lockdowns and the virus and stuff. Like he was, just doing these videos because he's a public citizen who's done great work on a more moderate voice with regards to this stuff. He's not like he's not in the conspiracy crowd or the, what the mainstream would call denier crowd. Of course, that's a loaded loaded label to give people. But what's funny about him is that he does do a lot of really good commentary on the whole thing. And I really like his videos. I got into Louis Rossman years ago because of Right to Repair and like watching stuff about, because I do own a couple Macs and stuff and just about computer stuff in general. So it's kind of interesting because I was already subbed to him, and then he started doing virus kind of commentary, political commentary in general, which I really like. So I highly recommend you watch his videos, especially the one about the outdoors restaurant in New York that recently came about because of the virus. That's hilarious. So I was in the comments section. Someone was, there's a lot of people that will back and forth. They'll talk about stuff with virus politics stuff. And there was a particular thread that a guy made this statement that basically now that Biden won the election, we're seeing all these people, these Democrats and stuff like mayors and governors come out against lockdowns. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know about that. But the thing is, the particular video, okay, I remember the particular video now. Louis Rossman was talking about Cuomo coming out against them in a tweet, like, we need to open up as soon as possible, blah, blah, blah. We can't wait for the vaccine. He actually said this in a tweet. So the guy responds in this thread, like, oh, this is like a couple of other, or all these people this week came out against lockdowns, all these mayors and governors. And I'm like, no, it can't be true. He's got to be exaggerating. The first person I looked up, though, and I'm just going to do this about one person because I haven't looked up everybody, but I don't think the guy's exaggerating. I don't think he's making shit up. Because someone responded like, oh, until a verifiable source says this, I don't believe it. Ugh. It's like, dude, there was like fucking, it's a tweet on Cuomo's page that Louis Rossman is, no, that was on a different video because I quoted this other, it was Louis Rossman's, it was on Jimmy Dore's page about another video unrelated that they were talking about this stuff. It was related to the virus stuff, but I was like, yeah, I could watch Louis Rossman's video. It's true. And then, when the guy in the Louis Rossman thread said, like, all these other people were saying this stuff, then I was like, no, that can't be true. So I looked up, I Googled Lori Lightfoot lockdowns. And the first thing that came up today was a Fox Business article, which, it's Fox, but whatever. And basically she has come out and said, and I do not kid you, that she wants the bars and restaurants to open up as soon as possible, quote unquote, because I guess her logic is that they can control things better with the virus if people were going to restaurants and and bars. I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm just like, I'm just shocked, aghast in exacerbation, because this is like one of the craziest things that I've ever seen a politician do. Is, months back, you were a piece of shit if you wanted your bar or restaurant to be open and not locked down. And now some of these same politicians are coming out and say, oh, no, wait a second, we don't want lockdowns. I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? So I read more of the article, and her logic is basically people are doing too many private gatherings. They're going to do it anyways, right? So why not have them in a controlled environment? I'm like, okay, this is not very good logic. If you really think about this, it's not very good logic. At the same time, I mean, it's not very good logic because bars, how can you control drunk people? It's just not fucking logical. And people are going to drink and eat, and they're not going to, you control the virus by, honestly, military martial law at this point, because there's nothing that's going to fucking, there's nothing. I agree with Stick Hexenhammer on that one, because it's like nothing's going to stop it at this point, except for these countries that can like be isolated, like New Zealand or something. So, and even that is a ticking time bomb. They'll have cases too, maybe in the winter or whatever, when they have their winter in the southern hemisphere. So the whole point of this guy commenting on this thread, which was on Jimmy Dore's page, I got this confused, and because I was responding about the Louis Rossman saying that this is true about Mario, or about Cuomo saying this, is that there is some type of political sea change with these politicians now saying that they don't want lockdowns anymore. And a lot of theories have come up about why. And what I think at this point is I have no clue why. I'm not going to speculate anything about why. And I think it's possible, though, that they're right, that these people were right about, the Trump supporters and stuff, about maybe because Biden's president now. I don't know. The thing is we got to think about these things like from a different, you can't think that it's just because of them, that Biden won, that they're going to be softer on lockdowns and stuff. I think you got to think about it from this kind of point of view where, Nixon was the guy that got a lot of like the stuff like the EPA started. I guess, like, in a way, the political winds have changed because Biden won, but it's not like they're thinking, I don't think they're sitting in a room saying, well, Biden won, so we were using all this stuff against Trump, and so now we can end the lockdowns. I don't think it's a conscious thing. I think it's unconscious bias and, like, maybe it's unconscious, various unconscious ideas that people have, and groupthink, basically, that goes in a certain direction, and then, unconsciously they're, shaken out of that for whatever reason and go the opposite way. So I don't really have a theory on why this is happening. Now, do I think it's a positive thing that these politicians are now changing their tune? And I haven't heard anything from Newsom. I think he's going to hold on as soon as possible, unless his favorite, like he wants his favorite hair salon that sells his, does his hair or something, he wants it to reopen, like his fucking, maybe there's some weird hair gel concoction some barber like is able to come up with, and they can't send it by mail or something with his fucking slick ass hair. I want to light it on fire. No, I was kidding. I think it would be funny if he had a Michael Jackson kind of accident, like on a sound stage, like doing some kind of like press conference, and like some lamp. I'm sorry, I don't wish any harm on anybody, but I think it would be funny. I'm just saying. So, because that's fucking slick ass hair. It's so stupid. Like, you're 50 years old and you're still like slicking back your hair like you're a fucking greaser or whatever the fuck. Fuck you. He's such a hypocrite. Anyways, I think he should be in jail, like I said in my other video, and I think he should at least resign or be or they're trying to recall him. I agree. I completely agree with the recall, by the way. No, I don't wish any harm on anybody, but so I haven't heard about him, but I know there's like at least 3 or 4 others that I haven't even looked up yet, but other than those 2, because if the guy was right about Lightfoot, he's probably right about the other ones. If you have 4 or 5 people coming out against lockdowns that were totally stringent, like the worst people, and I'm not going to say Lightfoot was. I think Fitzer was far worse, but she was a big fucking time hypocrite, of course. Um, I think a lot of that is Fitzer, and he was a oh man, that guy's a piece of shit as far as this stuff goes, But it's like I think there is a change of opinion about this stuff. I think we're gonna face this more and more. However, I want to put a little cautionary thing there because late summer, Macron and Merkel both said lockdowns are unsustainable. What happened later though? They had lockdowns again. So we can see that these people are saying these things. In America, though, America's different. I think in Europe they have things take hold really a lot easier with their government. I'm going to say this, and this is going to sound like a bad statement, and maybe I am grateful for living in the United States, but I think people in Europe, even though I like a lot of things about the European systems, especially like Northern Europe and stuff, and I've said that repeatedly. I think in Europe they can get into groupthink a lot easier, and people are a lot more compliant with stuff. So that's a danger over there. In America, I don't think people will be as compliant. So these politicians could actually go this direction with not less fallout, but like less chance of them reinstating this stuff in the future if people, because people will get even more if they do it in the future if they open stuff up. But I do agree with Lori Lightfoot. Unfortunately, I don't like her at all because of all her hypocrisy with this. But at the same time, it's like I agree with her basic premise that if people are going to meet up anyways, and if why not open up the bars and restaurants? I mean, it's like you're trying to your economy's already fucked, and you're having the highest crime city in the nation. I don't know if that's true, or I think it's one of the highest. And you're thinking that people are gonna get better. I don't know what's going on in Chicago, honestly. Like I don't know what's happening with the current thing that's happening there. But if she's saying what's about this, what she's saying is that people are going to do it anyway. So, and I think she's just trying to smooth it over, like saying, well, we can control things. Like, how the fuck are they going to control drunk people in a bar? Like, oh, we're going to have to track and trace every person that comes in the door if they have the virus and they have an outbreak. It's like, they're not going to fucking be able to do that if they open up the bars like they talk about. I don't know if that'll be like opening up the bars to 25% like they are here in Madison or well, actually, I think that's only restaurants, but restaurant means a couple different things to various places, to various people. It means different things to different people. I'll just say that. So, which I think is pretty hilarious, honestly. Like there's a bar down the street. There's a restaurant, but it's a bar, and the bar is open. Of course, there's not many people there, but it's like 25% capacity apparently. And there were some big crowds a couple weeks ago. Not big crowds, but crowds probably more like 35% capacity, maybe. I'm not good with math, so I'm not sure exactly, but it was more people than probably they could have allowed a couple of times. So the thing is just like Cuomo and just like Lightfoot have said, they're just it's not gonna survive. I mean, they're realizing this reality that they brought upon themselves is not sustainable. Cuomo and Lightfoot particularly. Now, these other people that supposedly said it too, which I have not Googled yet, and I'm gonna look it up. But the more people realize this, the less it's not looking good for the future of lockdowns because they're not going to do it. And I've said this about Madison, Wisconsin, like the whole 25 people versus 50 people. It's like I think there's just a change in perception maybe happening that just because of groupthink didn't permeate through. It was always like, oh, you're a COVID denier. Oops, I said it. I said the word. I don't know. You're a denier if you're against lockdowns. Well, what are you now? What is Cuomo now? Is he a denier because he wants to open shit back up? Does he want to kill grandma? I mean, it's like these people for months are attacking other people for having a even slightly different opinions. I've heard Zubin Damania has been called, and Louis Rossman, who are very much moderates. And Zubin is less of a moderate than, he's a little more mainstream than even Rossman is more of a real moderate. Or Eli, the computer guy. You know, these guys are moderates, and in the comments, people send them DMs calling them, like, saying they want people to die. And Louis Rossman was making fun of it. He's like, you want people to die? Because he didn't want to, like, lock down everything forever. And it's like, now these same politicians that these people that said those types of things, the same type of politicians those people support and have had the support of, are saying this stuff that months back you were a totally evil, denier or Trump person if you were saying that stuff. And now it's just the change is it infuriates me because it's hypocritical. It gives me hope that there might be some normality, quote unquote, in the future, even without a vaccine, like Cuomo said, Mario Cuomo. I mean, it's just a fucking disaster. So I don't know what to say about all this shit. I mean, it's been a disaster. It's ruined a lot of my life because I had so many things I was doing. There were other things that were causing me harm too at the same time. Some very bad things that happened to me as well. I'm not talking about a breakup. I'm talking about other stuff I'll never talk about in a video. And it, at least before this whole thing happened, I had the hope that things could be better because of, even with some of these things that happened. But when all the shit hit the fan, it ruined a lot of my things I was doing, So I was pissed off. And it was selfish. Oh my God, you're selfish. I was selfish about it, and I didn't want to fucking, go down with the ship, but, it's pretty bad. So, but people's the gall of these politicians to come out now and say, oh, well, maybe we can't lock down forever. It's just like, what is wrong with these people? Like, there was people saying this shit months ago, just like with the whole thing with the outdoor transmission I was talking about in my other video. It's like the gall of these people to come out now and go against what they were saying before. And I think they're just scared because they know, they saw that Biden won, and they see their own political careers are in peril because there's going to be more of a backlash against a lot of these things that are happening because people are not going to have fucking food on the table, and maybe they'll have a mild case of the coof and get sick for a couple days or weeks, but then at the end of the day they won't have any food and they'll fucking starve because of economic meltdown. So that's pretty much what I have to say about that. I don't have any good theory about why this is happening now, but I'll put it this way. So if I look at a week from now at the CDC website and see that cases are going down, I will know that these conspiracy fucking Trump people were right all along. I'm going to laugh because I'm not a fan of Trump, I'm really not. But at the same time, it's like, you got to wonder if they start doing this stuff, like if it's just the timing is so bizarre, and nobody can deny that's bizarre timing because it's like we're at the end of our rope with all this stuff. People are quarreling in Congress about the $1,400 versus $2,000 Biden stimulus. Like, well, it adds up to $2,000, I guess. 600 plus 1,400. No, we wanted a 2,000 one, right? So people are quarreling over that, and just like all this shit, it's just kind of going to it's just a total disaster. And we're at the precipice of something bad with all these fucking, these lockdowns are part of the reason why there was a Capitol riot. I'm sorry. That's a big part of it. And part of the riots in the summer too. I mean, there's no denying if people had more of outlets to, and weren't like under these stringent rules, regardless of, people getting sick, they wouldn't be doing all this stuff. But even more so if the economy, if they had a support system that supported their economic concerns and situations, they would, which it didn't. It didn't do shit. They have moratoriums on rent and stuff now, but or on evictions. But yeah, it's just a clusterfuck as it's been the whole time. And I've always had a bad feeling about it as far as what would happen. I mean, now my whole point of view about it is that I expect the worst. I didn't used to be like that because I was like, oh, cases are going to go down in a month. This astrologer said, I was clinging on to hope. But now that I'm like more black pilled about it, as they call it, now things are changing a little bit, I guess. But I'll believe it when I see it, though. Once Lightfoot opens up her bars and restaurants and keeps them open to some capacity, I'll believe it. I mean, luckily in Wisconsin, other than November through mid-December, and of course April and May, well, I'm not going to say that, but I think it's been better because stores are remaining open. They never closed down non-essential services again. Well, most places aren't doing that now, except for California, which is it's just like, what do you expect from this? What do you expect things to get better? They're getting worse. What does that mean? Where's the science there? Where's the science? I trust the science. I trust the science. Well, I trust the science and me fucking like punching you in the fucking face. How about that? The science is that your nose will bleed and I will laugh my ass off you being a fucking smug, arrogant piece of shit. That's all.